Hey, it's TDA and welcome to a quick guide on how to actually utilize outposts without spending a massive amount of money or time on them. Now, when placing your first outpost, make sure you take a look at what available resources there are and move around the starting location to find out a good combination. Now, as you can see, as I'm moving this around, the thing that I'll actually have in reach changes, so try to keep as many of those in range. At the same time, make sure that once you do, you have helium-3 among them. So for example, if you're looking at my combination of resources right now, if this will be your first outpost, make sure that you don't build it here because you don't have that helium-3. Once you found a suitable location, make sure you press the V button to kind of get to the bird-eye view so you can easily place your buildings, and then just plop down a single one of each basic extractor that you're going to need. Don't bother with more complicated stuff yet. For example, as you can see over here, water actually requires a lot more complicated stuff than what I just told you about. But things like the helium extractor as well as the iron extractor only need those 4 or 5 base materials that I just told you about. Now you're also going to need to power that, which is where some of the other base resources come in. I typically only use solar arrays. You also have wind turbines over here, but those need cobalt. It's a pretty decent alternative on some planets, but generally speaking I find that solar arrays work the best. Now once you have that, just a single extractor of each and a couple of solar arrays to make sure they're actually working, you're already producing those base resources. You're not going to be producing a lot of them, but you are going to be producing a fair amount of them. Now what you can do is then link them up to a storage. I'll show you in a moment how to do that, but what I really recommend that you do is that you link them up under the miscellaneous tab. I'll go to that now and link them up to a inter-system cargo link, because this will actually allow you to hook up your planets to each other and then just make sure you have all your resources in a single place. Now don't make the same mistake as I did and think that you actually need to go out and gather those materials yourself or craft those other items that you need. No, you can actually just go to, for example, Gems and Mercantile. This is almost like the first vendor you encounter in the game, and straight up buy everything from their inventory. The only 3 special items that you need to look out for when you're visiting the vendors are the reactive gauges, the comm relays, because you're going to need those for those interlink systems, as well as the zero wire, which you need for the more basic version that is actually going to allow you to transport things on the same planet between outposts. Now the links actually have 3 places where they store items. You have the outgoing cargo link, you have the incoming cargo link, and then you have the fuel system. So for obvious reasons, what you want to do is you want to right mouse click on the helium production and hook that up to the fuel, and then press E. So this now means that spaceships can actually arrive at this place. And for similar reasons, if you have any extractors, what you want to do is a right mouse click on those and then connect those to, well, you can basically just aim at the landing pad, but they will automatically connect to the outgoing cargo link. Then go to the console that is on top of the stairs and activate those. And if you have more than one of these things available without an actual existing connection, then you can just select them over here in the middle. You can connect those, and now you will have these outgoing resources going to the planet of your choice. In my case, that is towards the planet of Andrathon. Now, it is important to note that each platform can only use a single supply line. So if you want to bring 3 different planets worth of items to this specific place, you're going to need to set 3 of those landing pads up here, and then 1 of each of the individual planets that you're going to be transporting items from, to have them all available at a single location. That is very doable. It is just something to keep in mind. And very similarly, it is very easy to now start expanding, because all you need to do is just, again, set up an extractor, maybe set up some solar panels. If you want, you can add in some storage as well. Hook that up to one of these landing pads, and even if this is on the same planet you're already on, which is actually easier, what you can do is you can once again visit the console and then just send it to the other location that's already on the same planet. This is exactly the same for both the interstellar as the local one. Just make sure you use the correct version of the building depending on where you want to send stuff. Now this also means that in this particular location, I'm actually only exporting copper, no helium here, but the local version actually doesn't require fuel. So as long as you have one location on a planet that has access to helium, you can send every item that you're collecting on that planet to that central outpost and then export every single resource with just one external interstellar cargo link to wherever it needs to go. Now again, the goal is not to make this overcomplicated, but to make this functional. So all you need to do is maybe build a landing pad just so your own ship looks very nice when it lands, and then add as many cargo output links as you need in order to transport all the things that you're producing to a single planet. Now once you have this, of course, you can just pick up those base resources, go back to the planets that you came from, and build a couple of more things like extractors and solar panels just to speed up the production. But honestly, you don't need that much production to do what we want to do. What you do want to do is building a couple of these storage facilities. You're going to need adaptive frames for that, but you can actually make those adaptive frames yourself, which also ties in to the whole reason we're doing this. Because the next thing that you want to build is an industrial workbench. Just plop it down anywhere. It doesn't need to be in a fancy habitat unit or anything like that. You just put it down on the floor anywhere and you can start crafting things. Now, first of all, you can make the adaptive frames that you need for more storage space, which is really convenient. So if you lack some storage space, by all means, build a few more of these. But what I recommend that you actually make is the reactive gauge. Now, this needs copper and aluminum, and hopefully you have that by now. But as you can see, you can automatically make this from all the stores that you have available on your outpost, all the resources that are in there. So as you can see, I have over 300 aluminum right here to go. So what I can actually do is set this to the max and just create as many as I can and gain experience doing so. Now the reason we're making these is actually because these can be turned into another item, the austenitic manifold. This uses those gauges and then uses nickel and iron, so some of the other items that we are collecting right now. And again, you get a ton of experience while doing so. And you can see every time I do this, I actually get about 100 experience, and this just keeps going as long as we have materials to do this. As long as we have materials to do this being the thing that is limiting our experience gain, but of course that's where the bench comes in. Because you can just build a bench, sit on it, press the wait button, and then just wait for as long as you need to in order to make the new resources being flown in automatically, and then repeating this process over and over again. Now even if you only have a minimal production going on, you won't actually have to wait all that long in order for some new materials to come in, and once again craft maybe 300 or 400 worth of experience. If you need more than that, just go rest, repeat, and so on and so on. This process is not only going to leave you with a lot of experience, it's also going to leave you with a massive amount of stuff in your inventory that you can go out and sell. Might be more trouble than it's worth, but if you're looking for some easy money, this is the way to do it. Now, I really wouldn't recommend just boosting through the entire skill 3 by just doing this over and over and over again, but it is really nice if you're just looking to get a certain skill and you're almost close to that level or whatever, just to kind of boost you through where you want. Or if you do actually want to just give yourself a massive experience boost, and of course you can go ahead and do so. Aside from the experience and the credits that you can gain, it's actually really easy now as well to kind of start expanding your base if you want to. So, for example, if you want to build some of those scan boosters that the game tells you about every single time you build a base, or for example, you actually want to build a base and you want to station your crew here, or you want to have a nice little central place for all your mission boards and shipbuilding, you can actually now build this because you have a lot of materials right on hand. You can craft most of the materials you need in order to build this stuff, like the adaptive frames, etc. Just makes it a lot more convenient to actually build your base without having to worry about the materials. And there you have it, nothing too complicated, but I do hope you found this useful. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next one.